In this episode of Conducting Pills, we'll dive into the third and fourth movements of Mozart's Symphony number 36, the Linz Symphony. Hi, I'm Gianmaria Griglio, I'm a conductor and a composer, and welcome to this new episode of Conducting Pills, a series where we'll look into a classical piece or a part of it and outline its structure and phrasing, orchestration, and harmony, with bonus technical tips for conductors. I want to take a second to thank all of my patrons for making this series possible and to remind you that on my website you can find now more than 70 videos between score and technical analysis, the full episodes of Conducting Pills on top of the live sessions and plenty of other material. And now, let's begin. The classic third movement of a classical symphony, the courtly Menuet. This one does have some of the features of the Landler, a more rustic Austrian dance. The minuet has a typical A-B-A structure. Each section is normally split into two parts. Notice the presence of Mozart's signature rhythm, here slightly variated, of which we talked about in the episode dedicated to the first two movements of the symphony. The second phrase uses the same material, reversing the direction. Where it was going down in the first phrase, here Mozart moves it up. The rhythmic battle-like element is transformed within a softer frame. And then returns in its original form while the head of the theme is used to close the A section. A traditionally mellower trio follows. The first part is a lyrical line, fairly rustic in its sound, given by the coupled first violins in their very low register, oboes. The answer is left to the violins and bassoons, while the oboes conclude the phrase. The first phrase is retaken with a small canon in the bassoon, and the trio ends, prompting the repeat of the minuet. The last movement of this symphony is structured again in sonata form, an exposition with two more or less contrasting themes, a development where musical ideas get tossed around and reworked, and a recapitulation. The first theme makes use of lots of contrasts. The opening is all questions and answers. The violins gently ask the question, and the orchestra firmly answers. Trumpet and timpani join in for a line that cascades all the way down, only to rise up right after. Could we be already at the second theme's mark? Not yet. Mozart is being spiritoso, as in the first movement, joking and playing with both music and listeners. This is a small bridge modulating the G major. And introducing us to the second theme played by the violins in sixth, and then by the woodwinds as well. The end of the phrase gives us a 4 bars motive that Mozart masterfully transforms in a whole musical paragraph. The same motive is used for a parenthesis in G minor, followed by an exciting moment in G major where the violins tail each other. Another moment in which the lines move up and down. we get to the end of the exposition, which makes use of the head of the first theme. The development kicks off with the same cascading element we heard in the first tutti. Now it's in a piano dynamic left to the first violins only. This is what Mozart plays with for the entire development. The motive is passed in a progression back and forth from the violins to the basses. And then to the bassoon and oboe. And the violas, and second violins, and first again, and so forth to the end of the development, marked by a chromatic scale back into the recapitulation. The recapitulation proceeds as usual, and we only find a small variation in the coda, where an element is reiterated twice, increasing the excitement in anticipation to the conclusion of the symphony. Keep it small, anyone. If you really want to switch to 2, do it only from the wrist. The smaller and more compact your gestures are, the easier it is to keep the tempo effortlessly. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button right below the video and ring the bell so you will get notified every time a new video comes out. For more in-depth analysis, conducting technique, and conducting exercises, look on my website and follow my Facebook group. All the links are in the description. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece and if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I look forward to seeing you next week with a new episode of Conducting Pills when we'll start moving through Joseph Suk's Strings Serenade. In the meanwhile, please continue to enjoy music and be well. Ciao! Dialogue between first and second violins. Move up to mid-chest eye level for the first violin line and pause on the second beat to help them getting out of the dotted quarter note.